JM and the AM, good morning. It's a Monday. I told you it's a big day here at JM and the AM. Any day when we have some amazing guests joining us is a big day. That's why almost every day here is a big day. It was a pleasure seeing Marc Rosenberg last week in Israel. He's, of course, the vice president of Diaspora Partnerships for our friends at Nefesh B'Nefesh. And Nefesh B'Nefesh, especially as I said earlier, if you're a teacher, make sure your ears are perked up for this conversation. Because honestly, there's a new initiative with Nefesh B'Nefesh in terms of Aliyah that I never thought we would ever discuss, and I'll tell you what I mean in a moment. Marc Rosenberg, a pleasure to welcome you back to JM and the AM.
Good morning. Good morning.
Great to have you here, Marc. Great seeing you last week. In response to Israel's growing teacher shortage. And this is what I meant. I never thought we'd ever use those words in regard to Israel, that there's a teacher shortage. Nefesh B'Nefesh, in partnership with the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Aliyah and Integration, have announced the launch of Israel's first ever National Educators Aliyah Program. The initiative is designed to streamline the Aliyah and professional integration of qualified Jewish educators from North America and connect them with teaching opportunities across Israel. Marc, I'm assuming this is not a shortage in the Limudei Kodesh, Judaic studies area. I'm assuming this is more of a teacher shortage in the secular studies area.
You're indeed correct. There's a greater shortage in that, especially in teaching English. It's one of the hottest areas that they are interested in trying to recruit for. But there are positions opening in Limudei Kodesh as well.
What?
And one of the big things that one of the big things about this initiative, there are so many different factors that make it wonderful, is that the way that people publicize these positions is almost like it's so opaque that someone in North America wouldn't find out about it till they're already here.
Right.
So it's nearly impossible to plan, as we always talk about, live the dream and plan the dream, to say, okay, I'm thinking it's November, I'm thinking about coming next summer, I'm an educator, I'm a teacher. What schools are looking to hire? They know someone's retiring. They know they're adding a class. They come in. It's nearly impossible to find that out like early enough in the year, and that's one of the many reasons we're getting involved in this project.
And this is, so number one, just for the information itself, the information is so valuable because people who are teachers in the education space would love to have advance notice, as you just mentioned, of jobs that are available. Mm-hmm. But again, and I'm sure you understand my perspective on this, if there was one area that I never thought there would be a shortage in Israel and they'd have to reach to the diaspora in order to fill some of those spaces, it would be teaching. And sure enough, here it is. Here's a new initiative because there is, in fact, a teacher shortage. And when you say, for instance, English language teachers, I mean, you're talking about, because I know there's a lot of, tutoring when it comes to English as a second language. And I know there's always efforts by individual parents and maybe even communities to try to shore up their own children's English skills. But you're talking about formal English classes in, I assume, elementary and high schools throughout Israel.
Correct. Many Israeli students begin already in third grade teaching a second language, which is often English. And there are not enough teachers for that. Again, my children were in a school that had two tracks. One is English for Israelis and then English for English speakers.
Right.
There are not enough educators. But I want to challenge you, Nachum, because I'm sure about now it must be almost 5 years ago when Nefesh B'Nefesh started its physicians program, you would say, it's crazy that, there's a shortage of Jewish doctors in Israel. And one of the things that we have to appreciate that there are almost 10 million people living in Israel. The growth is really putting a challenge on the system. And we have everyone has kids here. So it's one of the things that's driving this is the growth of Israel and also some of the challenges of what it means to get into the system and to get to understand your rights and the benefits that you get as a teacher. So we're trying to combat both parts of it, make sure that it's a smooth system and that the talent comes in.
Marc Rosenberg is with us live from Israel. So, and I mean this seriously, for those who are looking not only to move to Israel, but to actually make a real contribution to the future of the state of Israel. The medical space, as you just alluded to, is a great example of that, and I don't think we need to go into any detail of how people are affecting, real change and making a real contribution when it comes to the field of medicine in Israel. But you're saying, and it certainly makes sense after your presentation, you're saying that in the educational teaching field, one can go and make a major impact at this point.
Correct. But listen, it's hard. I'll share my personal experience. I used to be licensed. It expired because I've been here so long. I was a 7th grade English teacher in Washington D.C. when I moved to Israel, and my vision was to enter in the system and continue in my passion of teaching, and also bring my values and have an imprint on a classroom and a generation of students. That was my idea. And for many years, I did, like many Olim, I worked in the gap year world. I worked with the 18-year-old students, the young boys, the young women. It was a really great experience. And then when I decided to make that leap and say, okay, I'm going to get a job in the school system, I hit a big wall, mainly because I didn't make Aliyah with Nefesh B'Nefesh, which is a time when you could. Now everyone from North America comes, but I came and I couldn't understand how to get my teaching license recognized. I couldn't have someone from the teachers union advocate for me or explain to me and talk about my years of teaching would account to raise my salary. So we have idealistic people. People who come educators usually do it not to become wealthy. They understand that they are going to share wealth with people, wealth of knowledge and experience. So it's not about, making a lot of money, but there's a certain basic level of understanding that you're going to be able to get your credentials recognized, and you're going to be put in a space that you can practice your craft and be able to get, your rights to it. And this program, in partnership with the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Aliyah, are saying that we are going to streamline this process so someone can get their teaching license recognized before they make Aliyah. There'll be pushed opportunities and be able to connect with schools and educators and to say, okay, I'm moving to this part of the country or this town. These are the positions that are open, and so maybe there might not be a limited Kodesh, but maybe you'll be able to teach a history class, or maybe you'll teach English. Be able to get people prepared for the move in such a way that they understand how much money they can earn, what's the paperwork they need to bring, and how they can build their career in a way that was always an obstacle course for so many people that wanted to have a imprint and be able to enter in a classroom and do what they love to do, which is teach children Torah and teach people how to be good citizens.
And especially when it comes to English, math, and science. I mean, everything, as you said earlier, everything is really open at this point. But those three are really critical, and those three, obviously, the licenses are taken very seriously. Now, I don't know I just don't remember from all the MEDEX conversations. I just don't remember if there's an age limit or if there's a forced retirement age. But what if someone's 65 and they say to themselves, they're a teacher and they've been an experienced teacher for 30 years in the sciences here in the United States, and they want to go to Israel and do what you just described, and maybe spend 10 years doing it. Are the possibilities open to them?
The possibilities are indeed open to them. I always say in general, it's the same advice I would give someone who's 45, is they have to be able to look at to see, is this an environment they're going to be able to practice their craft into it? Right. And that's one of the things about the Israeli school system, which is modernizing, and it's opening up, and there are some great principals that want the talent into class, and they're going to say, if this is the teacher that I'm going to be able to get, and they might be able to get special recognition, say, okay, for 2 years we'll be able to bring in this person, and then we'll have to deal with retirement age and what we're going to do. But there is just an eagerness to just make the system better, and realizing that there are so many people who want to come, and they're just given the Israeli no, oh, you need to do this, or they're given the runaround, and we're ending that. We're saying that for the hundreds of people applying for Aliyah next year, we're going to make it organized. We're going to be able to have an event online and in person, so people can just see what's really happening and see if this is right for them, and try and match them up with the schools. It's not always going to be perfect. It's the same story with the doctors. Sometimes there's an opening in the south and they really want to live in the north, or they have a home in Yerushalayim, but the job opportunity is going to be in Ashdod. So there are going to be people that it's not going to work perfect for, but we're opening up communication, and we're opening up the bureaucracy.
Now, the English language courses, it's obvious, but I'm assuming the majority of science and math courses are not taught in English. What about the language barrier? Sure. What would you say to the teachers who worry about the language barrier?
So it's a great point. So there are courses that we're offering for people to improve on their Hebrew. It's definitely going to be something that you're going to need to work on if you're going to be teaching those subjects. The same thing for someone who's teaching Tanakh. They have to make sure that their Hebrew is going to be sharp enough. One thing that's really, I just want to, I believe that Israel is a land of opportunities, and Aliyah opens people up. And therefore, I have a friend who's a Tanakh teacher, and he became an English teacher, but he uses Tanakh all the time in his English classes.
Right.
So there are ways that if your passion is science, and if your you have to see that your passion, your skill set is teaching, then you can really teach anything. And therefore, we're looking for an openness that someone might start out as an English teacher, but they're going to be able to grow in that and be able to move into it. The system, the Ministry of Education, the Israeli schools have been very rigid about the licensing and very rigid. You have to be here to do it. We are just seeing an openness to willingness to say, okay, again, we're not compromising on everything, but we're going to communicate. We're going to try and organize the principles to say, okay, how many positions you have opening, and you also have some Israeli schools that they're saying we want modern Orthodox educators, or this is a Haredi school, we're looking for Haredi educators, and they want to market it, and we have a great way to announce it and push it out to these niche audiences so people can get matched up and be the shadchan to the schools and the educators in the most efficient way possible.
We're talking about NEEP, Israel's first ever National Educators Aliyah Program, designed to streamline Aliyah and professional integration of qualified Jewish educators from North America and connect them with teaching opportunities across Israel. Has anybody in your organization been assigned to lead this effort yet, or we haven't gotten to that stage yet?
We have the strategic person who's really been working the phones in the offices to do it, but we're still working out some of the technical details to make sure that we're doing. We've received a beautiful amount of a beautiful response
already
from people who have made Aliyah. From people who have made Aliyah recently, saying this is needed. I'm in the system, and this is going to help us more. Some people have volunteered to be mentors, and other organizations saying this change is happening, and it's going to energize it. I think there's also something, Nachum, that we feel as Olim that sometimes we can't always raise our voices because we think we should add something to the school. And the teachers have that influence when they're inside the faculty meetings. And there's a nice recognition that the more amount of Olim teachers that come in, then the quality is also going to go up.
Yep.
And it's really exciting to see that. And we saw that with the physicians as well. The hospitals really remarked that the quality of their hospitals went up when these Olim doctors brought their personalities and their skill sets as well. So it's really, really exciting to see how organized it is and strategic. Now we're excited to really bring it into action.
Should people use the general website at this point, or is there a special one that's already been set up? What should people do?
We have a special email that's set up, and the idea or the land we ran so fast that the landing page was not ready to go yet because we are all about accuracy when it comes to making sure that people are getting all the information. I believe the email address is morimolim at nbn.org.il. Morimolim.
MORIMOLIM, I would assume.
Yep, morimolim at nbn.org.il, and that's where we're channeling all the excitement and information. And we're going to be having a series of webinars and some newsletters that are going to go out for people who want to follow this. It's exciting because I still introduce myself, Nachum, as an educator when I meet people.
Right.
And there's a skill set and passion that educators have, teachers, educators, formal, informal, and there's just this barrier because the Hebrew language and it's a system that's very different because like most Jewish listeners to your network are sending their kids to private schools, and here they're going to think about sending their kids to a religious public school here in Israel. It's very, very different. So to be able to bring that quality and know-how and passion is remarkable. We've seen schools transform. We've seen communities transform, and it's just going to be something that's going to help in the spread of Olim to other communities because they're going to be, okay, here's a great school, and I want to live near a great school. These teachers are going there. It's just going to be a net positive for Israel.
Morim Olim means teachers who are immigrating to Israel, who are making Aliyah. Use that email address, MORIMOLIM at NBN.org.il. Morim Olim at NBN.org.il. It's Nefesh B'Nefesh with their brand new first ever National Educators Aliyah Program. They are looking for teachers from North America as Israel's education system faces this shortage, particularly in the areas of English, math, and science, to consider heading to Israel and getting all the information now in advance. You don't have to wait till you get there. You can actually get everything in advance and plan out your Aliyah around your profession, but in a new position, a new job in the state of Israel. Marc Rosenberg is Vice President of the Diaspora Partnerships for Nefesh B'Nefesh. Marc, I thank you for this. It's an amazing initiative. I take this opportunity to wish you a Shana Tova, and thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Shana Tova to you, Nachum, to all your listeners, and wish you a year of Aliyah.
I appreciate that. Bezrat Hashem, Bezrat Hashem. More coming up. You're listening to a Monday morning edition of JM in the AM.